Welcome to the Dungeon Crawlers podcast, casting light onto the depths of online multiplayer gaming. Guys, how do we downgrade our spot again?
Yeah, it happens.
I was so comfortable in my seat upstairs. Nice cold beverage, warm, roaring fire. I smelt of smoke and beer and meat, and it was beautiful. And now we're down here.
And you no longer smell beautiful.
No, I do not. Not remotely.
Can Stormslord even smell stuff as an ephemeral voice?
A disembodied
voice.
According to my wife, no.
No. Nice. Anyway, those of you who are listening to us on our podcast, that makes no sense to you. But if you were watching us live on twitch.tv/Dungeon Crawler Network every Thursday night, it seems like, at 9 p.m. Eastern, we generally record one of our shows, and then we do a post show where we talk about it. Well, we didn't do a show the past 2 weeks, and we had so much news for both the MMO show, the Dungeon Crawlers, as well as our Ashes of Creation show. We decided to do both back to back. Whew. So here we are down in the depths, but we got a fun show planned for you guys today. We have two sunsets that happen for MMOs. One, it's not really an MMO. Amazon Game Studios is up in the ante and I guess forging some rings of power. Raw Kickstarter has now officially renamed Kickstarter to Shitstarter. Canada apparently is taking over the Minecraft MMO scene. Blizzard Entertainment has left Frank Pearce out in the cold. Final Fantasy XIV is apparently starting to surpass the beast. And Worlds Adrift ends tomorrow. But they're going out with a bang. Anyway, so that'll be a fun show. And of course, I have my awesome co-host. We got Stormslord, the disembodied voice. How are you, sir?
I'm doing awesome.
Excellent. And Alpha Soul.
Doing good.
And Crowjack.
Was that Raw MMO the one that we were calling kind of sketch the last time we talked?
Oh,
about
yeah.
This thing?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to get to this part.
Oh, yeah. That'll be fun.
Good.
But before we jump into the news, we got to talk about what we've been playing this week. If anything. I'll actually go first because I've not played anything, to be honest.
Yeah, that's boring.
Yeah, no, it's been a mess. Real life has just been taking a toll on me, and I've really played nothing whatsoever. Outside of hopping into BDO and tending the farms, because why not?
Farms.
Yeah, I gotta get
those farms.
Gotta get my strawberries and magical seeds planted all the time anyway. So that's what I do.
That can happen by itself.
It's not. Yeah, because my workers sure don't do it. They might they might trim all the plants back and keep the bugs away, but they won't harvest. So that sucks. How about you, Storms?
All right, so I've reached the end game of a lot of the stuff I've been doing, so I'm like a little bored with it. So I've been reaching back, played some IC this week, Imperial City and ESO.
Okay.
Haven't been there in a long time. But then leaning into BDO it feels so much more fluid than ESO in the combat, so I enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, watching the Picard trailer, I had to do some Star Trek Online. So
Dude.
I had to bring and realize I'm this close to a Galaxy class starship, so I got to play some more, Gotta get that Galaxy class. That's what I've been doing.
Oddly enough, you know what's really been like digging at me to play? Stardew Valley.
What?
No one.
Oh yeah.
No.
I vegged out. I probably played that for about 300 hours. I love that game. That is it's strange. It's so fun.
You want to talk about a real farming? I'll be doing BDO farming on one screen and Stardew Valley on the other. Yeah, I know it's a little tangent there. I know you were also talking about Crowfall too, right, Storms?
Yeah, I signed up for it. I'm deciding what package to get, but I want to look into that one as well. And they're really deeper into it this week, trying to find more to do. The idea of it resets itself every so often, I like that.
Right.
One of the issues you have with Arc and Atlas and all this other stuff is once the big guilds take over, that server's dead. They got it.
You should have watched the Kickstarter video where they compare their game to Risk. That's a multi-year Risk. It's actually really cool.
See, I would have bought it right then if I'd heard that.
I'm going to find you that video and just because the way they do it, it's pretty cool. They describe it as a family Risk game over several years. Say every Christmas you guys all go play Risk. First year everyone's engaged. It's a lot of fun. You know, they're all there. By year 2, no one's really ahead. And then they're like showing the people around the dinner table. People are checking their phones because they're not really as interested.
Yeah.
You know, by year 3, Uncle Bob has a commanding lead. There's a few people who are still, hanging on, but they're not really. They're again checking their phones. They don't really care. By year 4, Bob's the only one left. He's taken over anyone. Anyone who joins the game gets crushed immediately. By year 5, Bob's playing by himself because there's nothing else left for him to do.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's so funny to see him progress because by the year 5, he's wearing like a full patent outfit in the video. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yep.
Alpha. Actually, I'm going to skip Alpha because he's not listening. How about you, Crojack?
So I've been all in on content creation, about to launch a second YouTube channel. So my gaming for me has been hyper limited. So AFKing and BDO, trying to get my Triton Grad earring. I'm almost there. I'm at like 1.9 billion right now, saving up for Triton Grad earrings. Enchanting, not a chance. I'm not going down that rabbit hole. Not a chance. Not with accessories.
Yeah.
But for me, I've been streaming a little bit of Apex. That's fun. But with Overwatch's change to a 2-2-2 role queue system, I'm very much falling back in love with Overwatch right now. As my little late night, everyone's in bed, the baby's asleep. I'm just gonna sit down, play a couple rounds before I go to bed, kind of a thing.
I think
So
I've seen you stream it
MMO-wise?
once, right?
I did try and stream it once. My audience didn't. I have a hard time talking to them while I'm shooting people in the face, so I can't dual task that very well. So for MMOs, BDO, AFK, dabbling right now, trying to stay at the top of the guild in terms of gear progression, and I'm a little excited about WoW Classic coming out. I might try and stream that, see how the audience reacts.
Cool.
So that's my MMO stuff right now.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was watching you do, help me out. We just talked about Overwatch.
Overwatch.
It seems so chaotic. I never get what's going on.
Just like driving a car, you learn what signs on the side of the road aren't important to you at that time, at that moment in time.
Yeah.
You learn what things to look past and what things to focus on, what's important, what's a threat, what's not a threat. And that's kind of how it happens when you drive, and same thing with playing that game. There seems to be a lot of flashy effects going on, but you know what's not important to pay attention to and what's vital to pay attention to. Mostly audio cues. They do a great job with audio location and specific sound effects for like threat level. You know when someone's using an alternate because you can hear it and it's loud in your ears, like, oh my God. So their sound design is top drawer for their game.
Right. But yet Apex, I just know. Even though, like,
It's
when you
easy.
guys are doing the weapons and stuff like that, like, I have no idea why you're clicking certain stuff, but I don't really care at that point.
It's a much
just,
slower paced game.
I guess.
There's long stretches of no combat, and then you recognize, okay, there's a team over there and a team over there, and that's it. Overwatch, it's non-stop. You die, you res, you get back into it. It's go all the time.
Well, it sort of reminds me of old Unreal Tournament. I used to love Unreal 99. Oh,
Yeah.
Love that game.
Yeah.
Still have it. Anyway. Alpha Soul, what have you been playing?
I have been playing
Hello
Final
Kitty
Fantasy
Island
2.
Adventures.
Ooh. Man, yeah.
Kidding.
I've been playing Final Fantasy like crazy. I pretty much, finished the story, and now I kind of set my goals. I like to set goals in almost everything that I do.
Yeah.
And my
what's the
goal
big
now
one?
is to max out pretty much every class. Yeah.
He's insane.
So I have most of the crafting classes, but those don't take too long. It's really the war classes, the magic classes that take long. So
Yeah.
I was telling Crojack, it's probably going to take me until early next year to finish. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Sure.
Time spent leveling a class, is that better spent acquiring gear or powering up a different class?
No. Yeah.
You're
all
time
different, right?
gated.
You're time gated.
Really?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you keep up with that week's level of content or progression, or whatever.
You
and
can
then
get
in your
so
spare time,
many-
you go do your other thing.
Yep. You get so many
Yeah.
tokens per week
hate
to
that
buy
so
new
much.
gear. And
I
then
hate that
you
so
get
much.
the worthless tokens, which help you get started, But
Yeah.
they're unlimited, but you can buy other pieces of gear to get your other class. Yeah, but no, everything's time gated. Like,
Yeah.
if you focus on one character within like a day, you could have nothing else to
If you're
do.
caught up to progression, you're saying it doesn't take much to continue to be caught up
No.
to progression. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's like they added a couple more things, like there's some hunts that you can gain for if you join like the S rank hunts.
Yeah.
But it's really not worth it. Like the most efficient way is to literally just cap yourself out on like the duty roulettes,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like for the day. And if you do it for like 2 or 3 days, you'll have all that you need for the week or whatever, and then you can kind of
I'm
So
not saying it's bad design. I'm just saying for my personality, it wouldn't mesh. I love to go all in on one thing and
Yeah.
just chase for forever. So if I'm gated, I personally, for my personality, I get frustrated. Now, for there are other people, that's probably fantastic. So they don't have to put a whole lot of time to maintain progression.
The one saving grace of Final Fantasy is that even I'm with you, Krojack. I'm the same way, but Final Fantasy, it's all on one character.
That is
Yeah.
beautiful.
So
That is
it
beautiful.
feels like I'm still advancing, just kind of like how I advance in BDO. Yeah, my level's here, and I'm kind of capped out at like 60. I'm not capped out at 61, but
No.
61's very hard. I'm not really going for 62 seriously, but I can branch out and do other things. That's because it's not an alt and it's still my main. I'm still earning money for my main.
Yeah.
It's still gating, and yet it's not as hard.
And the other thing that I realized when I just sat down and just thought about it, the other good thing that comes of that is you don't ever really have problems finding a group, because you need a balanced group to do most things.
Yeah.
And like if you have a group of players and it's just like, okay, well, I'll play a DPS, so I'll switch to my Dragoon. Okay, you play your Paladin, blah, blah, blah. And then you can kind of just meld yourself to whatever group that you're with, and it works really well because of that, right?
Funny. I've never
Whereas
played 14, but I heard the word Dragoon and I couldn't help but smile. Just
Oh.
harkens back to Final Fantasy IV from my childhood.
yeah.
Dragon. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's good in that respect. But to your point, if you're a person who likes to just constantly build up on one character, you're going to hit a ceiling no matter what with Final Fantasy. So
And I'm guessing that's a weekly ceiling.
It's a
right?
weekly
It just goes
ceiling,
up
yeah.
it's
and
a
up.
weekly ceiling.
So
Yeah.
they're gating the progression of their entire player base.
Yep.
Every
Yeah,
week.
they are. And
which
even
is-
if
from their perspective for development, that means they can keep things balanced and they know, okay, 3 months from now they're going to be here, and 12 months from now they're going to be here, and we'll at least expansion here.
Yeah.
So from development, that's pretty amazing for them.
the longest thing that you could probably do on a single character gear wise is probably whenever they come out with the relic weapon, right? And
But
you
it's
could
only
go-
ever
you could
like
embark-
5 eye levels higher than anything else you can get.
Exactly.
And actually, I think it's still not best in slot at least it wasn't in 2.0 than like the Savage raid weapons or whatever they are that drop.
Right. And actually, that's another criticism that I think of it. If it's FF is not a good loot game. It's not a good.
It's not an
Ludo.
appeasing loot game. Now, I
Yeah.
do like how when I was doing it, and I love the fact that Krojack, my first character when I was playing 14 was a Dragoon.
Was it Dragoon?
Yeah.
Of course it was.
Yes, it was, buddy. I'll have to share some screenshots with you later. Anyway,
Big melee weapon? No, of course it's yours.
I was actually working on when you work on that spear, it feels good because when you're working on those relic weapons, they do take time. It's something you can really sink into, like, and you could do there's like 90 different parts to it. It's really cool to do.
Yeah.
I just think like the amount of time and effort you put into that and it's still not best in slot, it's kind of like, eh. But
Yeah.
even then, it really takes the RNG out of it. The gear is sort of lackluster. Even if you just do your roulettes, you can get gear of almost equivalent power to the raids, if not equivalent, except for like the super hardest mode, which is only like 0.5% better. So
Yeah.
it's not a very exciting game when it comes to that. Anyway, we really got to move on to the news or else.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yep, let's go.
There it is. All right, jumping into the news. First up, Atlas Reactor has finally sunsetted. The reason why I'm highlighting this, Atlas Reactor was a different game. And I know it's not technically an MMO, but the reason why I wanted to highlight this was Atlas Reactor was originally part of the Tryon Worlds series of games. And when Tryon Worlds went belly up and they got bought out by Gamigo, Gamigo took over all the IPs from Tryon Worlds. And it even stated that all of their stuff was going to... the Gamigo promised, after buying up all Tryon's assets and games last year, that they repeatedly promised to support all the different games, even going so far as saying we're adding new content for all of the games, including Atlas Reactor. Well, now they didn't. Now, back in April, they announced that the game is going to be sunsetted, and it's going to sunset actually. I think it already sunset. Yeah, it went off. It went all the way offline in June of June 28th is when it went offline.
Is sunsetting just nice words for we're shutting down?
Shutting down. Yep.
All right. We're letting you go. No, you're firing me. Right?
Yeah.
Just the nice words of to say
it's
things.
PR speak to make it sound night has fallen on this particular title.
Oh no.
They use the term sunsetting, especially with these always online games when they take them offline. So fortunately this game's gone. I know it was an MMO and it was a weird game. I don't know. Has anyone ever played Atlas Reactor before? Okay.
No.
It was like a mix of MOBA, arena shooter, and chess.
That sounds nothing
It was
like
turn-based.
How do you have a turn-based arena shooter?
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Very carefully.
Very carefully.
It was literally like a weird mixture of a MOBA because you had lanes. It was an arena shooter, and it was turn-based.
Hold on. You can't shoot me now. It's not your turn. It's my turn.
I really encourage you guys to go like YouTube this thing and just look at how it played. It was the weirdest combination of games I think I've ever heard of.
That's so weird. I mean, creativity is sometimes taking things that are old, smushing them together and making something new, but turn-based arena, just some weird base ingredients, I'm saying, to make this concoction.
Right. Like, I could see... I mean, Smite's essentially a MOBA arena shooter.
Yeah,
because they have lanes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's the turn-based part that's so confusing without actually seeing gameplay.
I really encourage everyone just to go check it out.
I might now.
And just look at it and go, I have no idea what in creation this thing is.
Yep.
Like it... The one thing you could actually say about Atlas Reactor was that it was not a clone. Because
maybe they went too niche. They went too specific, too narrow on their scope. Why they couldn't get traction and they had a sunset.
Right. I love when I was reading the news article because some of the comments were so funny about it. Because one of the comments that I love so much was Atlas Reactor, the best game that no one played.
Probably.
It also kind of comes back to the idea of what, everyone's talking about. We need the MMO genre to be innovative. Well, when you're innovative, it doesn't always work. And maybe
innovative is messy.
It is.
It is messy.
And Atlas it's risky.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Atlas Reactor took a risk and lost. Mm-hmm. They probably, like you said, could have made more money if they just did another turn-based arena shooter like Team Fortress,
minus the turn-based. Remove the words turn-based from that.
But they decided to do something different. The other potentially scary thing is that Gamigo took this over, promised content, and sunsetted. They still have 3 more titles that are MMOs. Rift, Arcage, and Trove. Now, from what I hear, Trove is a money-making beast for them.
Yeah.
So Trove is probably the only game of those 3 still standing that I remember that is probably safe, because that thing is making money hands over fist. Like, it's crazy how much money that Trove actually brings in. For a weird, blocky, Minecraft-esque class-based MMO. Like, it's really weird how they do these things. But
it's funny. You use those words to describe it. My brain went, I wonder what that looks like. And I'm interested.
You know,
there is something to cartoon graphics that the general population finds fascinating or finds interesting or intriguing.
They're lasting. They don't age.
Yes, they age well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, look at, I know I probably missed the conversation last week or the week before, but Hightail, right?
Yes.
Same thing.
Well, we didn't talk about that yet. We're going to do that
there you
at some point in the future.
It is a Minecrafty looking thing, right?
Yep.
Which sort of, I'm like, I used to play this with my kids like, 10 years ago. What are we? But you're right. It's lasting.
Right.
Guys, RuneScape is still going and going well and profitable. RuneScape. My God.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's
Again,
crazy.
Part of why World of Warcraft continues to work, right?
Yep.
Why Fortnite found success. There's something, like you said, eternal about those cartoon graphics.
Right.
Ash is trying to go more realistic. We'll see what happens.
It can age, right? The better the graphics get, it can age. Look at LOTR, right? It can age how it looks. Minecraft looks the same now that it did 15 years ago. Nobody cares.
And then somebody makes a cute little shader that makes it look a little bit nicer. And the whole community freaks out and they're all like downloading it by the millions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Life Needs Adventure. You talk to those publishers about doing a deal for us, because we should do that. Life Needs Adventure says you guys should advertise for games, because I always want to look up the games you guys talk about. You hear that, publishers? Just so you know.
I disagree. This is going to be a ad-free space. Our opinions will not be swayed by mere dollars.
You can sure try, though.
Lots of dollars.
Unless you want to work with Mr. Krojack directly, that is mrkrojack@gmail.com.
Nice. No, Trove actually is neat, and I know we're going to talk about it in a future episode. We didn't have enough time. We have a lot of stuff to go over, but I want to do like a special feature on Hightail, because that looked really cool.
That did, absolutely.
I even showed it to my wife, and she was saying how cool it looked, and I think she signed up for it, if I remember. Yeah, she's shaking her head. Yes. So, yeah, Hightail looked really neat, and it's one of those games where, I don't know, because I have my wife and I, we have a 4-year-old son. I wouldn't feel bad if he came down and saw me playing it.
Yeah.
And he could watch me. I'm not going to let him watch me play ESO, because some things in ESO get pretty dark, or The Witcher, or, not for a 4-year-old. That game I could let him sit and watch and probably even play a little bit. And okay, sure. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
I was intrigued by the technical background, but that's okay. It's a different conversation.
Yeah. We'll have that in a later episode. We'll dedicate something. So farewell, Atlas Reactor, the game that was almost too good for this world. Obviously. One of the most interesting bits of news that I'm excited about, and we talked about it a little bit in the past, there is a new Lord of the Rings themed MMO coming out. What we knew about it was it's a free-to-play MMO based on the Lord of the Rings, and it was being published by, I think it was Linau Studios. Anyway, they were a studio, I shouldn't say studio, they were an investment company out of China, which immediately made me go, yeah. Just that thought. All right, so it's Liao or whatever, and they had a business announcement where they announced a subsidiary publishing arm called Anthlon Games. That's all we knew. Well, Amazon Game Studios has thrown their hat in the ring, and now Amazon will be working on this title as probably the main development title for this new Lord of the Rings MMO.
That leads,
good news.
lends respectability to the project. The fact that it was free to play scared me.
Yep.
The fact, like you mentioned, the Chinese investors scared me. A lot of the things I was reading scared me until Amazon put their hat in the ring and said, we're going to do this. Now I'm interested.
Can I mention something else?
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong on this, and I'm pretty sure I'm not, because I read it somewhere else, I just wanted to make sure. But this, Liao or Loao or whatever it is, actually owns several subsidiaries or has controlling, including Digital Extremes, which makes Warframe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Warframe apparently is amazing from what I've heard. Like, it's really
People who love
growing.
it, love it.
Yeah, I can't play it. My daughter's boyfriend plays it.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I gotta
That's
stay
awesome.
away from it.
A little space there, right? A little buffer.
No.
I don't know.
Second thing, so there's one more thing that's kind of turned me off on this title potentially.
Okay.
It's PC and console, which means its combat systems have to be squished down and simplified to work on a controller.
Sure. Now, surprisingly, games like Final Fantasy XIV,
They pull it off.
they pull it off and they do it in a very interesting way. But I agree. I feel like that was a weird situation with how they did it. And I see Hypercore Ripper in chat. Shout out Hypercore Ripper if you want to check out all his stuff. Twitch.tv/Hypercore Ripper. ESO, there's actually one of my biggest complaints about ESO is the fact that when they brought it out, you only get 5 abilities. And I mean, there are bashing and attack, but
Yeah.
there's so many times like, I just want more abilities. Like, and I know they designed it this way. You have all these skills you can earn in ESO, but can only ever have 5 of them
Yeah.
because they designed it specifically for console. And that,
Yep.
I do agree that is an issue, but there's a couple things here that I really want to hammer home.
Amazon.
I know they haven't
Amazon.
released any titles yet.
Well, they released
However,
With their team and their funding and their experience
Team-
in other industries, like, come on.
Team funding and what we've seen already
that we're not allowed to talk about.
That you're not allowed
that
to
we're
talk
not
about.
allowed to talk about.
One game
There's
has
a lot
been
of good
released
reasons
from
to
the
be
engine,
excited.
but just one.
Yeah, but not by Amazon Game Studios. They're just
Not
we don't
by-
know
yes,
if they're
correct.
using Lumberyard. That we don't know.
That's true.
We don't know that. My thought is, are they using Lumberyard? From what I've seen of the Lumberyard engine, I'm sitting there going, please use Lumberyard. It works so well. Like, I know I can't talk about New World, but I would say that if they would have came out and said this is for sale, even like 8
You would
months
buy
ago,
it.
they couldn't have taken my money fast enough.
Oh yeah, I would not be questioning automatically.
Yeah, it would have just been
Yeah,
done.
that's good.
It was that good. From a game studio who hasn't had anything out, it's good. So there's that. Here's another fun thing. Amazon also has a studio for making movies who has the rights to Lord of the Rings and are doing a Lord of the Rings miniseries.
Yeah, the TV show. That's right.
I
think there's a tie in there.
think they're going to try to tie it in because
That's interesting.
the rumors I've heard is that the show is taking place in the Second Age, which revolves around the Ring of Power with Sauron, the elves in Eregion, and Gondor's still big. So you have that. And it's also rumored that this is supposed to take place in the Second Age.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm thinking there's going to be a big tie-in between the two.
You know, I actually like that they're doing the Second Age. You have so much power, so much grandiose, there's so many opportunities there for amazing storytelling.
And in the Second Age, it's still the Middle Earth we know because the War of Wrath has already happened. Yeah, okay. Crowjack and I are going to get into some Middle Earth lore talk. We're ready this. War of Wrath already happened. Beleriand is under the sea. So it's still Middle Earth that we know in the Third Age is in the Second Age. However, there's one part that's still there. Numenor is still... They've actually... If you haven't followed them on Instagram, they posted a map that includes Numenor on the map.
What?
Yes!
That's so weird. What?
So we might actually get to see Numenor and the falling of Numenor, Ar Pharazôn and his Assault of Amun and the Deathless Lands. Okay, I know I'm crazy, but
Are they tapping into Peter Jackson or the writing staff or anyone else that worked on the movies? Are they tapping into them as any at all? Do we know?
No. I don't believe they're tapping Peter Jackson for any of this.
Maybe like Fran Walsh, some of the writing staff, or some of the concept artists. I can't remember the names. So it's at my
The
tongue.
Weta Workshop guys.
Though even Weta or some of the visual art guys, just to try and keep the feel, the atmosphere, that kind of a thing, the art, the architecture, the costumes. Try and like pull it over. I'd love to know.
I would imagine they would try to keep some level of continuity. But again, remember, at this point in time, this is the height of the Numenorian civilization.
So lightsabers.
Yeah.
They're going back in time. They're gonna have crazy lightsaber weapons. Let's go.
Right. So
Ashes?
we have the height of Numenor at this point. The elves are, for the most part, still trying to fight Sauron and all that. They fled from, but their biggest cities, at this point the elves are waning, which makes me happy. Yeah, because the last alliance takes place during this point, which was oh crud. What was his name? The Elf King.
Bob.
Who marched
Bob.
with the last alliance. Come on, Crowjack, help me out.
His name's Bab.
Bab.
His name is Bab. I don't know. It's not in my head. There's how many names are in that damn world, that history?
All I know is his spear was Eglos, but I can't remember what his name was.
Your memory is far surpasses mine.
It's gonna kill me anyway. It's so neat to actually see at this point because he's the High King of the Elves, but they're the last. Gilgalad, thank you so much, Happy. You are the best. Gilgalad is alive at this time, and the sad part is I'm Happy was doing this, and I'm actually singing the song in my head. Gilgalad was an Elven king. All I could remember from the final part was in Mordor where the shadows are, because that's where it says his star fell in Mordor where the shadow, because he died.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm so excited about this. Like, I am legit excited because of how much I
Which
love
means
Lord of the Rings.
it's not going to meet your expectations. And
Oh,
you're
I
gonna be
know.
so upset.
I know.
Yep.
Happy
Yep,
Hansel.
yep.
Woohoo, I won the nerd contest. Oh, thank you so much, sir.
You out nerded me. I am so upset.
You should be. Oh, yeah, I did bump my camera. Oh, my. Cool. Fix
You're
that.
fine.
Fix
Can we get to
that.
the Raw? Can we get to the Raw?
We're going to
Can we
get to the Raw. All right, we're gonna get to the
talking
Raw.
so bad.
Sorry so much. I just had to really talk about the Lord of the Rings. I'm going to be watching this one very closely because of already what I've seen coming out of Amazon Game Studios has me very hopeful.
Yeah.
And them dealing with one of my most beloved IPs of all time. Oh, I'm very stoked.
That's a
very
very
stoked.
good thing. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Next up, Kickstarter canceled the campaign for the MMORPG Raw just a day before it was funded.
A convenient day before funding. Oh, man. This is going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they say why?
No, that part we don't know so far. So when this was actually supposed to be, I think July 16th was when it was supposed to finish. Okay. They had only asked for like $76,000 US, which we had already talked about.
Yep.
And I see Hypercore Ripper. Oh, that GTA RP type one. Yes, exactly.
That only wanted 70 grand in Kickstarter. We talked about this a couple weeks back.
And I see Grey Pelt says the KS included a letter as to why they canceled it. Yeah, but it was very generic. They're like, it could have been canceled because of the failure to identify people on the team, the reasonable belief that, how did it say?
All the doubts we were having, Kickstarter's like, yeah, we had the same doubts. So all these things.
Well, it was more that the reason that they use to cancel it is technically they could use to cancel any MMO.
Yes.
There. So I didn't particularly, I mean, obviously, you know what my thoughts are on it. I didn't particularly agree with how they canceled it because I think that they should be upfront with why they're canceling something, so they're not picking winners, if you will, right?
Absolutely.
Because but
It's harder for a company trying to use Kickstarter to rebuttal if you don't give them a specific answer as to why you're canceling them.
But
Right.
can they reveal that to us?
Also, good question.
Right. I don't know how they set up their NDAs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting because, like they said, to protect our community, we may suspend projects when they demonstrate one or more of the following: a creator or someone directly related to them posing as an independent party to create an illusion of support in a project comments or elsewhere, or appropriating someone else's biography or falsifying an identity, or misrepresenting or failing to disclose relevant facts about the project or its creators.
I'm assuming it's more towards the later, unless this company started to make fake accounts parading around saying, hey, we're going to support this. You should support this too.
Right.
Unless they went that way.
A lot of people thought this was a scam, especially with the only 76,000 or whatever that they were asking for. We had went back through their Q&A as to why they're like, oh, we felt rushed to do this. And it's like, well, that's really weird. It's only like 2 people working on the team, 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
But they had actually passed to over 200,000 US by the time it was shut down. So it was definitely going to pass. Killer World Games sent out a message going, guys, expect our message about the current situation in Discord. They have a Discord. Shitstarter, as they call it. Close the project without even trying to figure out what was going on. Well, you had months, and if you didn't, anyway.
It's not up to Kickstarter to figure it out. It's up to you to demonstrate what's going on.
Right.
And I see, Bob, 70K for what? A dev. They actually said 70K to, I guess, hire multiple people.
Yeah.
That's not much.
Again, they're based out of Germany, but Germany actually has a pretty high standard of living in.
They do.
And it's not a cheap place to live, so it's not like you're hiring people in Panama where 70K would go really far.
Right.
Anyway, so the gameplay video was almost finished. We will continue the project anyway because of the huge amount of effort that has been invested into it. Please don't listen to a bunch of offended by life idiots and their bullshit. Thank you for support and faith in us. I'm not real fond of their PR message, which then also makes me go, eh.
Pretty amateur.
Yeah.
Very amateur. Yeah.
Very amateur at that point. So I'll read this as well. This was actually posted on their Discord. When asked what happened, they said Kickstarter suspended our campaign. There was no warning, nothing. They just closed it without providing any actual reasons. Anyway, here's a copy of the only message we received from them. And they screenshotted it below, and that's what we had. So when asked what happened, we don't know. We assume there were some people that were massively reporting on our campaign to Kickstarter directly. This might be one of the possible reasons that triggered Kickstarter to suspend our campaign. It's very suspicious that they suspended us only 24 hours before ending the campaign. It's unclear why they would have waited to the very end of the campaign to close us. We are very disappointed right now on how Kickstarter manages such situations. They could at least contact us in the first place and ask us things that they were concerned about. That didn't happen. They just closed it. That's it. When asked what's next, they go, as we mentioned, we are very disappointed but not broken. We're going to release gameplay videos as we promised no matter what. It'll take us 2 more days. I didn't check to see if that actually posted, but we will share it with our community here on Discord as soon as we possibly can. We will not stop making gameplay demonstration videos after this one, and we will continue to ensure our reliability in the eyes of our community. After demonstration of the new gameplay video, we will start working on solutions that we can give to the community and ability to support us in our further development of the game. Indiegogo can be one of those solutions. The second solution is to make it through our website. So, a couple things right here. It is never in Kickstarter's interests to cancel a project because they take a cut.
Yes.
Right.
So if they cancel your project, after it's funded.
Yeah.
They're
To the
essentially
tune of
giving up
hundreds of
money.
thousands of dollars. Yeah.
Well, and they don't want to get sued. So I think they found something that they were nervous about.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, if ultimately,
But
it's
can
their platform,
Kickstarter
right?
really be sued? I mean, let's
Anybody
face
can be
it.
sued.
It's
Can
true.
they win is a different question.
It's true. But their wording with their terms of service is pretty intact about, listen, you're supporting this project. It could fail. You know,
Yeah.
and we're not responsible if it fails.
So,
I think
it was sketch. In Kickstarter's eyes, this whole thing was sketch, and they wanted to wash their hands of it.
Yeah.
At the hit of money.
Yeah. No, I don't think they get
Yeah.
Kickstarter because it's supporting it. I think of something in the way they represent, not Kickstarter, the company represented themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Possibly was untrue.
You know what's funny? We're talking on the assumption that they're not going to release a product, and that this is all just like
Mhm.
them trying to fish money for as long as they can.
Could too. They could have
We
turned it
ta-
off themselves.
We talked about previously in this podcast about how they were using built-in assets, like really simple, cheap built-in assets to build this game and stuff like that, as cheap as they could. My buddy in the chat, Hypercore Ripper, knows of this gentleman. There's a game creator on Steam who makes a game called Dude Simulator. And what he's done is he's repackaged the same game using the same assets and the same map, but changing the map around a little bit and moving things around a little bit, and re-released Dude Simulator 18 different ways for $1 and change a piece. Dude Simulator 2 and 3 and 4. Thief Simulator, some other simulator, but it's the exact same game, slightly shuffled around. So there are people out there that do these terrible practices, and for some reason, it seems like this company might actually release a product, but it's not going to be a very good product using all these pre-bought assets and kind of like slapped together, and they kept the funding going as long as they possibly can because they don't want to go back home or who knows what. I don't know. The whole thing is scary, and I'm glad that Kickstarter just washed their hands of the whole situation.
The one thing that I noticed here is there have been claims that the reason why they got rid of this was because the game's Discord asserts that the Kickstarter has been suspended because the developers would, and I quote, would need to raise additional funds outside of Kickstarter to complete the game. Kickstarter apparently confirmed this to PCGN later on, saying that, hey, if you can't fund it with just that, that's a problem. How many MMOs have already, like Chronicles of Lyria comes to mind. They raised $4 million or whatever. And only afterwards did Caspian come out going, guys, we're going to need like 30 million to finish this, just so you know.
Yeah.
This just gets us started.
Yeah.
But here's the difference. We're talking about MMOs that have raised millions and are making massive games and massive projects with all this work and all this hiring. This is two dudes asking for a quick 70 Gs. This seems scammy.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Yeah.
Agelos' point is right. Like all these
True.
all these other games, like there's no way that they
No, to the
complete a
letter
game
of
with
the
Kickstarter
rule,
money.
you're right. You're right.
right?
Right.
But to your points, obviously, I think they're using this because obviously 70K isn't enough to complete anything,
No.
and more importantly, they didn't seem to have another plan or an additional kind of fluff, if you will, as a company to come across as legit to even release it. So it's kind of like I think Kickstarter just looked at it and said, okay, this game is probably not going to be completed, right? Despite how well intentioned they may be, so we got to cancel it because it hurts their platform overall if you have yet another game that people throw money at and nothing comes of it.
Do you think
The brand.
this may actually be the end of Kickstarter MMORPGs due to the fact that no MMO is going to be built on that amount of money?
I don't
think
think
we
it's
need-
the start. I think it's been waning. You just can't do that.
Yeah.
I think we need more time to see what these MMOs do. Your Chronicles of
no.
Lyria, your Ashes of Creation, or do you mean?
I
like-
mean Kickstarter saying if it's an MMO or described as an MMO, we're not going to allow it on our platform.
I don't think this is the straw that broke the camel's back. You know what I mean? I don't think this instance is that. If a Chronicles doesn't deliver, if an Ashes doesn't deliver,
If a Star Citizen doesn't deliver,
if a Star Citizen doesn't, right? Because
Yeah.
those are your big name ones that draw a lot of attention. This little 70 grand raw thing is not out there to the world to the same level of Ashes and Illyria, a Star Citizen specifically. Because that's a lot of bad press, and that's a lot of hurt branding if those don't launch.
yeah, but we're already starting to see a lot of negative press. Didn't you see the Forbes article where they talked about Star Citizen already having blown through almost all of its budget, and it's down to like $3 million, and they're nowhere near released?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which we should hear more about that. My guess is by January or February. I forgot, when is the fiscal quarter. We're going to hear more about that basically before a year comes up.
Yeah.
And I suspect it's going to be not good news.
So you're saying, go ahead, work in game development, just don't try and develop your own game.
Just
Well,
show off
look at-
enough
look at
things
this
once in a
way.
while.
Compare
Keep the funding coming.
Kickstarter to what the FEC, the SEC is looking into now with stocks, right? Stocks when they started weren't regulated like they are now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Kickstarter is an unregulated. You don't get investment in the company, right? But people are going to start losing money, and these regulators are going to step in.
Yeah.
And the numbers start getting bigger.
Yep.
Yep.
Right. I mean, you're seeing that all across the board at this point with these things not funding. So yeah, it's going to be an issue when enough people complain. I mean, Kojak could probably talk. Look at the whole cryptocurrency. When they finally went, yeah, this is unregulated, so now we're doing credit card charges as cash advances. We're not letting you point of sale anymore.
And that was also partially the banks trying to put the middle finger to crypto.
Yeah, they're like,
stop this asset.
They're like, you're not regulated. That's it. And
Unless you're not regulated, we're not even letting you get off the ground to potentially, possibly be a threat to our
As a
existence.
competitor.
Yeah, we're stopping the competition before it even like gets off the ground. That's
It
what they're trying
worked.
to do.
It worked.
Kinda.
You're
We'll see about that.
You're not.
The radio
you're not-
tried to stop TV, and
Yeah, that's true.
Blockbuster tried to stop Netflix. So we'll see what happens, buddy.
And they did.
Blockbuster stopped Netflix.
They stopped them from going out of business, right? So,
It's true. It's true.
We'll see.
All right. Moving on to the next little bit of news. Citywars Savage, that's sort of a weird name, is a new MMO coming out. Okay. So there's a couple interesting things about Citywars Savage. They're a small indie company out of Canada. All right. So we got some Canadians over here.
Yeah, hey, maple syrup. Sorry, poutine.
you let 'em in or
I'm
did he-
assuming that's why the title's
We
so
did that.
weird. I don't know. The thing that's the most interesting is that you'll be able to code all the NPCs. Every NPC in the game
That's
can be
crazy.
coded by any player to do whatever you want it to do.
It's an MMO, right?
Uh-huh.
It's a world, right?
Uh-huh.
What's stopping me from going up to Sally's NPC and editing the code on Sally's NPC?
Nothing.
What?
No, nothing.
What?
In fact, actually, I'm going to go ahead and probably put this up on the background here if I can. Yes, I can. Let me just make sure it's working. We're actually going to play the video. It's a quick 2-minute video that describes this. One thing to take note of is they're obviously Canadian, and the person who does the voiceover, I don't
What
think
do you mean, obviously Canadian? What does that mean?
you'll just listen. I don't think English is their first language.
Maybe they're French Canadian. Calm down there.
All right. Anyway. Fake Canadian right here. We're going to play this video. All right. Enjoy.
In Citywars Savage, you will experience a unique vision, an independent, massively multiplayer online role-playing game. First, choose a race. Each race has an exclusive set of skills that will help you on your journey, whichever path you choose to follow. Craft tool and modify your surroundings, gather resources, accumulate wealth, and start shaping your world. You are moving up the ladder. Now you can craft more complex items and advanced recipes. Whatever has good value, you can trade and sell. Set up a shop. You are now a member of a thriving economy. Introducing the split screen into a fully massively multiplayer game allows you to play anytime with anyone everywhere. Have a fun family game night or set a party with people from around the world to defeat a scary dungeon. In Citywars Savage, you start small, but you can become whoever you wish to be. From a local farmer to a conqueror, everyone has a place and a chance to fight. Purchase a house to store your loots, decorate it as you wish, rent a room to your best friend and live together. Help build the community you wish to evolve in, participate and get rewarded. But this is only the beginning. You now progressed enough to need more resources than you can gather by yourself. The non-player character program is truly a unique feature in Citywars Savage that you will surely enjoy. Once you purchase your first NPC, you can program it to do your will. You can use them to help, defend, attack, or work. Make them in your own image and use them to your advantages, but beware, you won't be the only one to do so. That's right, all NPCs in-game will be programmed by other players. Citywars Savage has a lot more to come, like minigames, dungeon party, and content creator tool. Since it's still in alpha phase, we can't show you everything we have yet. Soon, you will be able to roam the plains, mountains, and cities of Citywars Savage. Go register your customized character now on www.citywars.ca to know firsthand when the beta will be released.
So clearly, the only thing I really watch is The Office, because that's what came up as my most recent searches. But that's okay.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Canada is a beautiful country where we have every ethnic group on the planet in this country, okay? And you listen to that accent, and it could be a Russian trying to speak English. It could be a French Canadian trying to speak English. It could be any kind of ethnic group trying to speak English. And you just like pass it off as like the de facto Canadian accent. Oh yeah, they're Canadian boys with their maple syrup and their Mounties and their igloos and their hockeys. No, you don't know what I was actually sitting there the whole time trying to figure out what is she? Where is she from? Where does she hail from? What accent is that? I don't know.
She lives next
That's
door
not
to
Canadian.
Kojak.
Yeah, we all sound like that there, eh? Yeah, sorry. Justin Trudeau,
Yeah.
maple syrup, eh?
Yeah, I see chats going, you're being real defensive, Kojak. I'm starting to wonder.
Offensive because Jello is attacking my people. I'm being attacked.
Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the game. Not just the fact that it's obviously Canadian. I just love when she's like, head out to Triple W. I'm like,
Triple
says it that?
Canadians don't say that.
Who says that?
Kinda, she sounded a little bit Russian, to be honest. I think
It might have
a
been.
Russian accent.
They're based out of Montreal, so there
they're
you go.
Oh
Russian
my God!
Canadians?
So they're Russians that moved to Quebec and now speak French as well. So imagine a Russian trying to also speak French, but then trying to speak English. I think that's what that was.
Anyway,
French Russian.
I know we're having a little bit of fun. Whoever did that, yeah, I can't even speak more than one language, so you're better than I am. So good job.
You know
I
what's funny
can't
though?
speak one.
Yeah, I
On
can
the
barely
topic
speak
of-
English, so
On the topic of the actual MMO, a Minecraft MMORPG, it writes itself. It prints money, okay?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
But a Minecraft MMO is usually dedicated towards younger audience, young adults down to teens and kids.
Sure.
Then you add computer programming of NPCs of programming languages. There's a conflict of interest there. That's weird. Like,
Kojak, do you want to be
What?
my roommate? We can
wanna
get a
live in that
house and
Minecraft
live
world?
together.
dude, we're gonna program all the slaves to get us food and stuff, man. Program all the slaves.
All right. So first thing out, what's up with the split screen? If it's supposed to be an MMO,
weird.
what's the split screen for?
Because again, if it's targeting kids want to sit together and play together. Cool.
Mhm.
But why are you putting like computer programming languages in there?
We can, Kojak,
So
we can
moms
move
and
in
dads?
together. We can sit together and do the split screen, and then we can live together in the game too.
Seriously though, no joke. There are 2 properties. There are 2 IPs that I'm still shocked have not made an MMO. One is Minecraft, and the other is Pokemon. Why are there not an MMO for either of those IPs? I have no idea.
I
They
mean,
would both
I guess you
just
could argue
print money.
Pokemon Go is.
It's the closest thing, but
Yeah.
it's still not quite, right?
Yeah.
Well, it is a static world that's always there when you log off because it's our world.
It's our world,
It's
and there
literally- it's
are
always there.
other people to interact
So
with.
it's pretty darn close, but there's not like is there an online trading in that now? Is there?
There
a market?
is.
there
Yeah, you can
so it
trade.
started?
Yeah,
Started a work
trade,
there.
battle your friends. Like, yeah, it's actually pretty close to, what it
There,
actually is
getting
there. And yeah, no, there are, and another game we'll talk about here in the future, Hightail, which is also similar to this, is coming out as well. So, all right, the programmable NPCs though, that's weird. Like you can,
It's a neat
That is
concept.
weird.
but
That
it's
opens
weird.
up a lot of doors.
Can-
As long if you can, because it said you spawn your NPC or you create your NPC and you program it, right? So that means there's not just NPCs roaming around the world you walk up to and go right click, edit. Nah,
Yeah.
maniacally laughing as you evilly edit this NPC. Or
Now, can you edit just yours?
good question.
no,
Look
they
up the
they
sound.
actually said in the video anyone can edit them.
Anyone maybe in your party, in your guild, in your accepted list of friends that can do so.
I think when they say edit, they're going to restrict what you can have them
Yeah.
do.
Either that or you're gonna have like, I don't know,
Yeah.
a bunch
That's
of people
what you have.
reprogramming every single thing to just become like the Zerg.
Dude, I'm walking up to every quest giver and erasing their quest parameters and making them just sit there and sing. That's all I'm. They're just sitting there, like put a cat on their head and sing one song. Like it's gonna be the Rick roll. Like
Now,
that,
the cat on the head
whole
went too
world.
far. Sorry.
I don't know. Like it's weird.
Let's see what they do. I'm curious.
Yeah, I don't know. This will be something to watch. I actually am.
Yeah.
I am watching it because it's unique enough that it's like, really, like what is going on here? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I like how they said loots too, so that was cool. Anyway, check it out. Citywar Savages at www.
Triple double.
That's how I'm going to do our outro anymore. Check us out at www.dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. Yeah. Citywar Savage, Montreal-based indie MMO that's sort of Minecraft-y with some really weird stuff.
www. En français.
And I see chat.
9.
It kind of comes off as a Minecraft ripoff. You could argue any voxel-based
Roblox.
Trove, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and what is Minecraft a ripoff of other than other 16-bit games at the time, you know? Like.
Yeah, but Minecraft's been around for what feels like 100 years now. It feels like the OG. You know what I mean? They've won.
Yeah. Right.
There were other MMOs before WoW, but when you think MMO, most people just think WoW.
You're right, though. It is amazing that they don't have a Minecraft MMO. You can
I
just
guess it's the
print
whole
money.
building and editing and destruction of an entire world of like 1,000 people on one server. I'm trying to think of like the logistics of that.
Some sad news coming up here is that Blizzard co-founder Frank Pearce has now officially left Blizzard Entertainment. Back in 91, when Blizzard Entertainment was formed, it was formed by 3 different guys: Mike Morhaime, Alan Adam, and Frank Pearce.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Adheim has left and then returned, and then I guess left. Maybe he's still there now. I'm not really sure about him, but he left first. And then anyone remember? I think it was like 2 years ago. Morhaime stepped down as the president, and then went into an advisory role.
Dude,
And then
that
he
happens
left
in
his-
sports all the time.
Well, it's
That's so funny.
It's because Blizzard got bought out by Activision. Activision's
Yep.
pushing them, and it's forced retirement's what it is.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with even though he wasn't a co-founder, he was pretty much everything when it came to World of Warcraft. And that was Chris Metzen.
Metzen? Yeah.
Yeah, when Metzen left, I was upset. I'm like, oh, come on now. Because he was genuinely an awesome dude.
Oh, it was awesome.
I love that guy. His energy he had, the way he got you hyped. And seeing him leave Blizzard was a blow. Mike Morheim leaving was also a pretty big blow. But now Frank Pearce also is leaving after 28 years. And he quotes, "Everything I have done at Blizzard has been driven by my passion. I have worked very hard and very passionately for a very long time. And now it's time for me to reflect and be thoughtful about what comes next." PR speech of, I believe, getting kicked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's not leaving empty-handed, though.
No.
Oh, no. Oh, no. No, I'm sure he got a pretty big case there. But again, really sad to see the Blizzard that we all knew is really not the Blizzard we know.
Well,
And-
that's what happens when you have a quote-unquote merger
Yep.
Yeah.
/
Yep.
buyout.
I'm not that romantic about it. I'm fine with it. But the question is, how good are the products going to be moving forward? If they continue to be good, great. There's no complaints. If they don't, then you look back on these moments and go, right, there's reason for concern.
Right. Right. Well, some reason for concern. Alpha Soul, why don't you take this next one?
Well, let's see.
It's the Final Fantasy one.
14.
Yeah. So, okay. So it was actually spawned off of another video by Layman Gaming. And that was basically people started looking at the logs for FF logs and, WoW logs, and noticed that the traffic was essentially the same now at this point. And so the question is now, has Final Fantasy surpassed World of Warcraft in terms of popularity, or in terms of, like subscriptions and things of that nature? I don't think it's actually reached that point. But I do think that a lot of ground has been made up.
Yeah, there's a conversation about it now, right? It wasn't a conversation before. It wasn't even in the same ballpark before, but now it is. And that's crazy. That's something to write about.
I'm going to make the same argument I made in Discord earlier today about this. And I watched the video, and it's interesting. Yes, I agree. But I also think it's a little disingenuous and kind of clickbaity, only for the fact that you're now comparing what is, from all reviews, the most popular Final Fantasy expansion they've ever had to WoW's worst expansion universally they've ever had. And only now is Final Fantasy getting close to what WoW had.
Yeah, and that's okay. Because again, the fact that it's even a conversation is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Because World of Warcraft has been the behemoth for a decade in this space.
Like, expansion or not, there's never been any, like, close fight
Nothing's
or
come
anything like
close.
that. And so the fact that there is an MMO,
And it's a
I think
little
it's
bit
still-
to 14's credit and a little
No,
bit to World of Warcraft's
Discredit.
discredit. Right.
Yeah. No, and I'm not saying Final Fantasy 14 isn't doing very well. They are.
Yeah, they're killing it right now.
Just the whole premise of the video kind of had me going, you're looking at the log side.
yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. I
I
mean-
fully expect when Classic comes out in 2 months.
It's going to be gross.
Oh, yeah. Your Final Fantasy's not
God.
ever going to touch it again at that point.
It'll be, no, it will. Because what's going to happen? We talked about this.
Yeah.
The nostalgia, the hype.
You're
The-
right.
The first 4 months are going to be bonkers.
Mhm.
And then 12 months from now, we'll see if Classic can stand on its own.
And what happens in the next 4-ish months? Next BlizzCon.
Um,
4-ish. Oh, that's right. Next BlizzCon. Yeah.
hurry up and give me either World of Diablo or World of Overwatch, and I want to throw my wallet at it right now.
They did.
World
It
of
was called
Diablo.
Project Titan, and
World
then it
of
became
Diablo,
Overwatch.
please,
So
please.
I don't know.
want another MMO either with the Overwatch IP or the Diablo IP. I think a Diablo MMO would just be
I
so
would love the
good.
Diablo one.
What, you don't?
You don't have a
phones?
demonic angels versus what?
You don't have phone?
You don't have a phone, bro?
You don't have phone, bro?
a Doom MMO. Kidding.
People should have lost their jobs. Whatever happened that they had to pull out that major announcement, and then that was like, oh my god, what a wow! It still blows my mind to this day.
Is this just an off-season April Fool's joke? Oh man,
Oh my god.
that was great. That was great. I don't know. I think that what they're going to do is WoW Classic is going to carry them and propel the WoW numbers again because Battle for Azeroth has universally been the most hated expansion.
Streamers hate them everywhere. Everywhere I look. Everywhere I look.
Yeah.
Everywhere I look.
I'm still not convinced. Everyone keeps saying that it's going to be a major success. I am not convinced. I'm in the opposite direction that it's not going to be. I think early on, sure, a lot of people are going to go there. A lot of people are going to play it. But I don't see it holding. One, raids are not the same that they were before.
No.
I've said a million times, Classic does not hold up in terms of quality of product.
No.
Nostalgia is going to push it hard, but it's not a good MMO in a vacuum. If you just analyze it, it's not a good MMO. There's not a lot of content. There's not a lot of mechanics. Like you said, the raids just don't hold up, right?
Yeah.
Compared to our standards. Now, if it can survive long enough to start the expansion progression into Burning Crusade, into Wrath, that's amazing, because then the game really starts to develop and get really good around Burning Crusade and Wrath and on. If it can live long enough to get there.
It does, but then again, people have been saying that WoW has progressively gotten worse as time has gone on. Like, they keep saying that what was it? Early on days were the Halcyon days, right?
Okay, yeah,
this is when this is when it was best. I don't agree either, but that's what the argument is.
Mm-hmm.
If the trend is that they keep, they treat it like in the other servers and progressively release their content as it goes in, I just don't see it as a winning formula for them long term. I think there are going to be plenty of people that play it. There's a lot of people by nature who play WoW. By WoW standards, I don't think that it's going to hold up.
People said the same thing about Star Wars Galaxies, that before the NGE was the best time, when empirically it had the least amount of content, the most amount of bugs that it ever did at any point. Like, they're like, oh, there was nothing to do prior to the new game experience. Like, nothing to do. But people look at it through rose-colored glasses. I agree.
Yep.
But with the hard leveling curve, that alone will keep people up until raiding, I think, because it does take quite a bit to level in that game. Just the leveling procedures, whatever. And if a new expansion for WoW is announced at BlizzCon, I think that will keep the subs going. Because they've done this for each expansion. As soon as it's announced, there's months worth of the pre-patches, the events going forward. People will continue to play to finish everything up for the next thing.
That's true.
That's funny. Every person in the comment section here, every person has played WoW. As you all pretty much played Classic. They played BC. They played Wrath. And they have fond memories of that. And lots of people will say it crashed after BC. It was down after BC, or it went down after Wrath, or it went down after Kata, right? What I want to find fascinating is there's going to be a segment of players who have played Wrath or played WoW since Miss Pandaria, and that was their first time, or the Draenor was their first time, and they're used to either those types of WoW experiences with those amount of features, those amounts of content, and they're going to try Classic, and they're in for a rude awakening.
Oh yeah,
they're going to hate it. They're going to be like, there's nothing to do. It's grindy as hell. I ran out of quests. Where am I supposed to go now? Where's the quest? They're going to hate it. And they're going to say it sucks. Because, again, objectively, it sucks. It's not a good game. But, like, people in the comments...
At the time, it was really good compared to everything else.
At the time, right.
Yeah.
At the time, it was innovative, as hell, basically, right? But...
It's not going to hold up. It's not going to hold up. Our nostalgia is going to love it, and we're going to get in there and love every moment of it. But I'm telling you, there are new gamers who have never touched anything pre-Wrath who are going to despise it because objectively, it's not good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch it.
It's going to be a fascinating time. It really is. And I'm just kind of hoping that, I guess, it lasts long enough to...
Yeah, I want to get to BC and Wrath. I loved those ones. Those were fun for me.
Yes. BC was probably one of my favorites because at that point in time, BC still... And everyone has their own idea of when everything went to crap.
100%.
In my mind, it really wasn't almost any of them until they started adding dungeon finders. When they started taking away the need for people is
That
when
didn't
you
even click
start.
for me.
When they
Raid.
started
Oh.
collapsing the community,
Looking for
essentially.
raid. Because dungeons just, I didn't care about queuing up for a random dungeon, banging it out in 30 minutes, not needing my
Sure.
guild. The moment they took they removed the need for a guild for raiding, wow.
Yeah,
That was actually pretty big. Yeah.
That was a huge shift.
Because that was
Huge
like,
change.
because they had a kind of like a hierarchy.
Mhm.
If you rated, you
Best
had the
gear.
ability. Yeah, exactly.
Social
you had
network.
There was also a reward in the story alone that you got to see.
That's true. Yeah.
And no, you're right. At that point in time, I specifically remember when they added LFR. I was a big raider, loved it.
Yeah.
And when LFR came out, my desire of raiding started going
Now-
down.
That's from the perspective of us who loved that rating. What about the casual that never tried rating and then had the opportunity to do so? What percentages of population?
I think that added a lot of population, putting it in that group finder. Yep,
Yeah.
it took out a lot of community, and I get that, but it brought in a larger
It did.
percentage.
Yeah. So from a numbers perspective, I bet you it was a win for Blizzard.
Yeah.
Or they would have changed it if it wasn't.
Right.
Actually, you know what? You nailed it on the head. If it wasn't a win for
Yeah.
them, they would have reverted it.
Or
Right.
let's put it another way. Well, if they were faced with the exact same decision, would they do it again?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without a heart, like I don't
mean,
see any
Final
way that you
Fantasy
could
did
argue-
that. They added story mode because Binding Coil of Bahamut was difficult. Like,
Oh yeah, I didn't clear. I think I cleared up to, before I quit. We did up to 4. We couldn't beat 5. We couldn't beat
Titania.
Twintania.
Yeah, Twintania. I got all the way up to tier 9, I think it was. But then people were complaining. Then Alexander, I think, was the next one where they added the story mode where you could do all of it just to see the story. And then Savage
yeah.
became it. But you'll also notice at that point in time, their hardcore raid base starts falling off.
Yeah,
Maybe it's the exclusivity. I don't know. But
I mean that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, it's being a part of a community and knowing with that community, hey, we are one of the very few people who can do that, and it adds a little exclusivity to your guild too, right?
Yep.
seeing people
Yeah.
in town standing around with raid gear, you're like, whoa, where'd that come
Yeah,
from?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Now everyone gets it's just a slight recolor. It's like, oh, I know that shield, but mine's red because I did it in LFR. You know,
Yeah.
like, that's the thing. Anyway, we'll be watching these games as they go forward. Final bit of news that we have for tonight, and this one ending on a little bit of a sad note. Worlds Adrift is sunsetting as of tomorrow. So, like, if you're watching live, you still may get a chance. If you're not watching live and you're going to watch this afterwards, well, the game's already gone.
It's too bad. It was a neat idea. It was a neat concept.
Yeah, I have this playing. I have their video in the background. It was a neat concept for a game. And back in May, when Bossa Studios announced that they'll be sunsetting the game in July, they said it failed to capture as many people as it needed to be commercially viable. But it was a very unique, open world PvP style sailing sandbox. It was. And you'll see it in the background. It was neat. It had a unique art style, which we had already talked about. It's one of those art styles that doesn't
Like
age.
cel-shaded.
Yeah, not as bad.
Niching down is important so long as the niche you're targeting has the audience or the gameplay or the player base to support it.
Sure.
This steampunk airship niche is beautiful. It's fantastic, and it'd be a lot of fun to play. But there's just not enough, like they said, there's not enough people into this kind of stuff, which is too bad.
It was too bad. I again, this is going back to why aren't MMOs more innovative? Well, when they are and they don't get critical mass, they shut
Yep.
down.
You can only be so innovative and still be successful.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Being a disruptor in an industry is not always a good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You can be a disruptor in an industry if you feel the industry wants that disruption.
And you're right.
The clients, the target audience, the people paying the money.
But if you misread that,
If
then
you
you're
misread
just-
that,
oops.
Or to look at it another way, I heard somebody say this. It's oftentimes the people who come in, or the companies that come in second or third, that
True.
really clean up off of that innovation,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Again,
Like wow.
Yep.
the
Absolutely.
MMO space.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Wow. Exactly. Wow.
Because EverQuest did it first. It just
Yeah.
didn't get the
Ultima
critical
or was
mass.
EverQuest? Ultima.
Ultima
EverQuest?
was a different style of game.
Yeah.
You could actually
Yeah.
argue Ultima did it first for a PvP style MMO. Dark Age of
Yeah.
Camelot did it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
EverQuest was
But
a PvE style, and it did
Yeah.
good. World of Warcraft did much better.
Crushed it. League of
Because-
Legends was not the first MOBA,
No.
but it was the best MOBA.
EverQuest was the first major one that basically
Yeah.
said no PvP, or not no PvP, but
PvE
PvP is
focus.
PvE is the focus, because before that it was like games, it was just kind of given
Mhm.
that you had to PvP and keep it in there, blah blah blah. EverQuest took it in another direction, and then WoW just ran with it.
Fortnite was not the first battle royale. PUBG came out before it. PUBG was out for a bit before Fortnite came out.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Fortnite, Fortnite, the battle royale was an afterthought.
it was.
Mhm.
It was. But
Maybe
Wha-
someone will pull off this steampunk ship thing down the road. Maybe someone will pull it off. They'll position it right. They'll design it right. The gameplay will be done a certain way. Maybe someone will figure it out.
Now, I will say this though. If WoW Classic does turn out to be insanely popular, that actually bodes really well for Ashes of Creation. More
Okay,
so
how do
than
you,
it,
how do you draw that connection? I'm curious to follow your brain here.
because think about what they're think about what it's proposing. It's proposing, no dungeon finders, right? You have to. The old world of WoW was big comparatively because it took so freaking long to cross.
Travel was slow.
right. You
Yeah.
created communities within areas like
Okay,
outs-
yeah, I'm starting to follow you.
your community was the focus, if you will. It took a long time to get things. One of the real reasons that I think it won't work specifically is because, well, it's tried and true content. There's nothing new that's actually there that everyone gets to experience together. It's just old stuff kind of being rehashed, right?
Yeah.
But
see what you mean.
I'm curious to see if that core holds up, that if people don't quit, it's not because of the being forced, or not necessarily being forced, but all that player interaction portion. That's
Yeah.
not because of that.
right.
It shows that the MMO audience is hungry for that kind of thing, and Ashes is looking to provide that. But in
Right,
a new,
exactly.
exciting way.
Mm-hmm.
It'll say get back to your roots, basically.
Yeah.
Mhm. Which is
Now
what
there
they've been
is-
saying.
Yes. Yeah. That there is a grassroots movement.
Yeah. So it's almost like a testing ground,
Right.
Mhm.
with
I think
Yeah.
you put it really well.
Well, if you want to pay your final respects to World's Drift, and this is actually something in closing, I'm going to ask each of you guys this question. They are going to be doing an End of the World event, a 6-hour stream apparently for the End of the World before they shut the servers off. Okay, that's going to be starting tomorrow, Friday, July 26th at 10 a.m. Eastern, and will be going until the servers go off. Here's my question to you guys. Do you, if this was your MMO, Alpha Soul, Final Fantasy 14, they did this as well. The Meteor Fall.
the Meteor Fall. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you, if this was your only MMO, would you like an end of world event to say goodbye to it? What would you do in that final thing? My thought was, and we'll go around each person as this will be our final thing before we close off for the night. World of Warcraft was probably the game that I wouldn't say hooked me on MMOs. It definitely didn't. UO did all that. But I didn't get critical mass into what an MMO was, the community, all of that, until I started playing WoW. And seeing the world that I loved, like the idea of a genre being something that's so cool into World of Warcraft. So if World of Warcraft were ever to shut down, would I would resub just to go to the ending events.
100%.
And I can
I'd be there.
honestly say, even if the event was going on, I can tell you right now, I would run my character to the very northern beach of Eversong Woods.
Oh yeah.
The Blood Elf Zone. There's a beach there's only one quest there, but it's a beautiful beach looking out at the ocean. That's where I'd sit my character until the servers went offline.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I've already thought about this. If WoW would ever end, I would run my character to that beach with my wife's character, and we'd sit on that beach until the servers went offline. I'm kind of sad even thinking about it.
Interesting.
What about you guys? Alpha, what are these end of world events? Would you rather have an end of world event to say goodbye to a world that you had loved, or would you rather them just shut it off?
Definitely end of world event. I mean, it's for a game that we spend a ton of time on these games, right?
Yeah.
And I think it really depends on the community. As long as I'm involved in the community, then I do want to spend it in game, kind of saying goodbye to everyone, because it's kind of like a parting of ways, if you will, right?
Revisiting the areas you used to play in. Exactly.
If it was WoW, I would probably go. If it was WoW for me, I'd probably go back to the beginning. And that's like, because I started with an undead character, so Tirisfal Woods or Undercity.
Yep.
I would probably just make that my last stand and then go out. Yeah.
Storms.
So I wouldn't necessarily want an event. To me, that's immaterial. I want the knowledge that it's coming, right? For instance, and again, this is just a server wipe, right? We had a server wipe with Atlas in like March, right? April, whatever it was. And what we did is we build the best things we could do, and we said, okay, we're going to go against the end boss, and we all gathered as a community to do that. We spent days getting ready to do that, did it, and then we're done. Then they shut the server off like 5 days later, but the whole thing is we as a community came together to work with.
Crowjack.
I got really emotional when you mentioned the end of World of Warcraft and visualizing that. It hit me hard.
Yep.
And I want to talk about that real quick before I get my answer,
Sure.
because art is about emotion, and it's about the gift of emotion, whether that is music or written word or visual art or gaming or any form of expression. A successful piece of art is something that evokes emotion in you. Your favorite movies are the ones you laughed at or cried at or were shocked at or horrified at. The best games give you some emotion, some emotional thing. And the emotion I felt when you mentioned WoW going down reminded me just how special that game was to me. That's really cool. I would be sitting at Orgrimmar. I spent so much time at Orgrimmar. The music. Seriously, right now, like remembering the music of Orgrimmar, the theme is making me very happy.
Yeah.
So I'd be chilling, because now you can fly, because back in the day you couldn't. Now you can. I'd be sitting up top or on the cliffs of Orgrimmar, looking down into the main area where the bank is, and the general used to sit here, the warlord would be there, down that main area. I'd be overlooking that, just chilling there, waiting for the end of the world to come for World of Warcraft. That's what I would do.
Man, now I'm all upset because I'm even thinking about it. I'm like, oh.
I was like on the fence for playing Classic. I'm playing Classic. It's no longer I'm doing it.
I'm
playing
probably
day
going to
one.
play Classic too now.
Yeah, probably gonna give it a try. but,
Rephrase.
Yeah.
I'm going to attempt to play Classic
Sure.
on the opening day.
Sure.
I'm going to try.
Yeah.
We'll see how the servers hold up.
Yeah, just that thought. I'm sitting here thinking about running through some of my favorite zones.
Yeah.
Even though I played Horde, one of my favorite zones is Tedrassil.
Oh, yeah.
Sitting up in Tedrassil, looking out over the ocean, because you could actually get outside and sit on the one branch of Tedrassil looking out.
Dude,
All right.
Stranglethorn Vale was always the first experience for PvP for so many people back then, because that was the first time Alliance and Horde kind of got together in a zone, and I loved fighting other people in Stranglethorn Vale. It was madness in Classic.
Yeah. By the way, that's 2 Agelos.
Did I get you there too?
Huh? No. I said that's 2. First was the Blood Elf area. Second was Tedrassil, the Night Elf area.
Yeah.
That's 2 elf-loving
I know.
things.
What
I
up
know.
with that
In one
there,
show.
Mr. Jellos?
I know. Those are just the 2 that I remember the most fondly, because that's where we played.
Torn Mill, and South Shore.
Mm.
The
like that word.
wars.
Stranglethorn
wars.
Vietnam. Yeah, that's
Oh
what it was.
my God.
I think I also like those two zones because they were the most. The color scheme was the most unique.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
because there was the magic through the air. Like Eversong Woods had that golden hue,
Yeah.
and Teddersill had that purplish hue.
Yep.
And it made it a very unique zone to play in. So,
Wow.
all right, guys, I think that's going to be the end of this before we bawl our eyes out, imagining the end of World of Warcraft and where we would go.
Jellos.
Winter, spring.
Jellos.
Hmm.
Start a WoW guild. Hands of Fate Classic WoW guild. We need it.
I'm thinking
This
we
isn't a
might
joke.
at this
This
point.
is straight up, like,
Yeah.
legit. We need it.
I'm actually thinking that may legitly be something we may have to do.
100%.
Yeah. All right. You can follow everything we do. Actually, before I do that, I should say, all my co-hosts first. Why am I even going? I'm so torn up inside over the thought of WoW closing down and where I would go if they told me next week WoW's closing down. I would resub right now just to go look at those areas.
Check out my mounts and my pets and fly around the world a bit.
I would have to buy another hard drive for the screenshots.
Oh man, I take so much video footage. I just film and fly around and film.
Yep.
Go
Anyway.
back up to like Northrend and
Oh, Northrend.
do some of the old. I would do IC. I would solo IC just for fun.
The what was the other? Not the Boreal Tundra. What was the other zone? The other starting zone you could go to in Northrend.
No, screw that. Grizzly Hills. The
Grizzly
music
Hills.
in Grizzly Hills
Grizzly
was
Hills, yeah.
beautiful. I loved it.
That was, I think, my favorite zone in all of
Northrend.
Was
Northrend.
Grizzly Hills the
Howling
one where-
Fjord? That's what it was.
Howling Fjord's the start.
Howling
Grizzly
Fjord?
Hills was
Yeah.
like the second or third zone you got into. It was the green, lush, wooded area.
Mm-hmm. Can we all just agree Zuldrak sucked?
So no one likes troll anything.
Yeah, no, that was.
No one likes troll anything.
every other
I love
zone
my
I adored.
trolls.
All right.
Nah, then
All right,
you're
brother.
one of the few. One of the few.
They've got,
That's 'cause
they've
you're
got the Caribbean
Jamaican.
accent.
Yeah, come
exactly.
on.
Yeah, I gotcha.
How can I not love them?
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, you can follow. If you want more Caribbean accent, maybe Alpha Soul might do that on his channel, youtube.com/the_alpha_soul. Check out his content there. We've got Stormzord Digital Piper Studios where he makes awesome games. Go ahead and check all of that out. And of course, Mr. Crowjack on pretty much everything. He streams, he does videos, he Snapchats. I
He
don't know.
sings, he dances.
He sings, he dances. Actually,
Slices,
yeah.
dices, chili, and fries. I will sing. I will not
will.
dance.
Will sing. And sometimes he tries to help reunite old, delirious, Frenchmen try to find their estranged children. It's very nice.
What?
Anyway.
Oh, you mean Uncle Gus?
Uncle Gus. Yeah.
He's not French. He is from Ukraine. He's
Ukraine?
from he's from some random Canadian city name in Ukraine. That's what he always says. I'm from like Toronto, Ukraine, or Calgary, Ukraine.
There you go.
That's Hypercore Ripper, by the way.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Anyway, you follow everything we do, dungeoncrawlernetwork.com. There you find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Be sure to check out our Patreon program at patreon.com/dungeoncrawlernetwork if you'd like to help support the show and the network. You can also help support the show by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes. And this show definitely needs it. So definitely leave us some 5-star reviews on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast, that we say real words. Sometimes they matter. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Dungeon Crawlers Podcast. We'll see you next time. See you later, everybody.